Hey everyone, Kat here, your favorite ginger bibliophile. Hope you're all doing really well. And it's Monday, so hope you're in the mood for a Grimm tale. And I would show you the, snuggly puppies, but one's flopped out on the hardwood behind me here. And my snuggly little man decided that, he wanted to nap in a different spot. But that's good, that means it's nice and safe. There's no one to yell at outside. At least no one that he can see. The bunny might still be off right, because they're being sneaky this year. They had their baby in my backyard, but they haven't come to visit the last 2 summers, other than to have some babies and run through. So this morning I caught one out front having a snack. I guess that's because I have a bunch of lilies out there too, and we all know that's their favorite food. So let's get into it. We got tale 87 today. The poor man and the rich man. Any guesses how that one's gonna play out? Let's see. Get nice and comfy here. Because it is story time. Gotta get comfy for story time, right? In olden times, when the Lord was still walking upon the earth among mortals, he happened to grow tired, and night descended before he could reach an inn. Two houses were standing in front of him, just opposite one another. The large and beautiful one belonged to a rich man, while the small and shabby one belonged to a poor man. Did we really need that explained? Was it not obvious? I'm sure I won't be a burden to the rich man, thought the Lord, so I'll spend the night at his place. He hasn't met the crazy rich yet, apparently. When the rich man heard some knocking at his door, he opened the window and asked the stranger who he was and what he wanted. I'd like to have a night's lodging, answered the Lord. The rich man examined the traveler from head to toe, and since the Lord was dressed very simply, it did not look like he had much money in his pockets. He shook his head and said, I can't put you up. My rooms are full of herbs and seeds. If I were to put up everyone who knocked at my door, I'd soon have to go out begging for myself. Look for a place somewhere else. Are we really shocked? And what kind of herbs and seeds is he growing? How would he make all his money? Y'all know what's up. But I can't say it because this video will get taken down. With that, he slammed the window shut and left the Lord standing there. So the Lord turned around and went across the street to the small house. No sooner had he knocked than the poor man already had the door open and asked the traveler to enter. That's good to be nice, but kind of stupid to be that trusting. It's not like it was a doggy. Stay the night with me. It's already dark, and you won't be able to go much farther tonight. The Lord was pleased to hear that, and he entered the house. The poor man's wife welcomed him by shaking his hand. She told him to make himself feel at home and to feel free to use anything they had, even though they did not have much. Whatever they had, he could gladly have. Then she put potatoes on the fire, and while they were cooking, she milked the goats so that they would at least have a little milk with the meal. When the table had been set, the Lord sat down and ate with them. He enjoyed the meager repast because they were grateful faces around him. One of these days I'll learn English, but don't hold your breath. Yeah. When they had eaten and it was time to go to bed, the wife whispered to her husband, Listen, dear husband, let's make up a bed of straw for ourselves tonight, so that the poor traveler can sleep in our bed and rest. He's been traveling the whole day and is probably very tired. The curse of story time strikes again. Good idea, he answered. I'll go and offer it to him. And he went to the Lord and told him that if he did not mind, he could sleep in their bed and give his limbs a proper rest. The Lord did not want to take the old couple's bed, but they insisted until he finally took their bed and lay down in it. I'm sorry, but no, I don't know you. You ain't getting in my bed. Who knows what you have? Meanwhile, they made a bed of straw for themselves and lay on the ground. The next morning, they were up before daybreak and cooked breakfast. They breakfast for their guests as well as they could manage. When the sun began to shine through the little window and the Lord stood up, he ate with them again and got set to continue his journey. As he was standing in the doorway, he turned around and said, "Because you are so kind and good, I'm going to grant you 3 wishes. They shall indeed be fulfilled." That sounds a little genie-ish, and we all know how sneaky they are. "There's nothing I want more than eternal salvation," said the man, "and also that we stay healthy and get our daily bread as long as we wish. As for the third thing, I don't know what to wish." "Don't you want to wish for a new house in place of this old one?" "Oh, yes," said the man. "I'd certainly be pleased if I could have that as well." Right before his departure, the Lord gave them his blessings once more, fulfilled their wishes, and turned the old house into a new one. When the rich man got up, it was broad daylight. As he looked out the window toward the other side of the road, he saw a new, clean house with a red tiled roof instead of the old shack that used to be there. His eyes popped wide open, and he called his wife. "Can you tell me what's going on?" he asked. "Just yesterday there was a dumpy house standing there. Today there's this new, beautiful one. Run over and find out what happened." His wife went over and asked the poor man, who told her, "Last night a traveler came by looking for a night's lodging, and right before his departure this morning he granted us 3 wishes. Eternal salvation, good health, and our daily bread for the rest of our lives, and lastly, a beautiful new house in place of our old shack." The rich man's wife hurried back and told her husband what had happened. Then the man said, "I'd like to beat myself to a pulp. If I had only known, the stranger came to our house first and wanted to spend the night with us, but I turned him away." "Hurry," said the wife, "and get on your horse. Perhaps you can still catch up to the man and get him to grant you 3 wishes, too." "For what? You sent him away. The other ones, it was, payment for taking what little they had." The rich man followed her good advice, galloped off on his horse, and managed to catch up to the Lord. Yep, nap time is coming. He used sweet talk with the Lord and begged him not to take amiss that he had not let him into his house right away. He had gone to look for the door key, but the stranger had disappeared in the meantime. I don't think anyone's buying it based on. That doesn't look like the picture of, spoiled rich folks getting more spoiled. Like, yeah, you couldn't find the key. That's why you told him to go away, because he don't have room. He must think people are really dumb if they're not him. The rich man assured him that if he passed by again, he would find a place to stay at his house. "Very well," said the Lord. "If I come back again, I shall stay with you." Then the rich man asked him whether he also could have 3 wishes like his neighbor. "He's not very good at keeping secrets, is he?" He played his hand out right from the start. It's like, "I'm not being nice. I'm after something. What you gonna give me before you, even get anything from me?" Typical. The Lord said yes, but that they would not turn out well for him, and it might be best if he refrained from wishing for anything. The rich man disagreed and asserted that he would be able to choose something to make himself happy if he knew for certain that the wishes would be fulfilled. "Ride home," said the Lord. "The 3 wishes you make shall be fulfilled." Now the rich man had what he wanted, so he rode home and began to contemplate what he should wish for. As he was thus steeped in thought, he let the reins drop, and the horse began jumping so much that his thoughts were continually disturbed, and he could not collect them. He patted the horse on its neck and said, "Calm down, Lizzie," but the horse kept bouncing up and down. Finally, he got so annoyed that he lost patience. "I wish you'd break your neck," he exclaimed. Yeah, as if I already didn't like this dude. Now he's being mean to the horsey. As soon as he said that, he was thrown to the ground, and the horse lay dead as a doornail. Thus, the first wish was fulfilled. I mean, you could have punished the guy without hurting the animal. That's just. Somebody's being a prick. We know who. Since the rich man was greedy by nature, he did not want to leave the saddle behind. So he cut it off, swung it over his back, and proceeded on foot. "You've got 2 wishes left," he thought, and consoled himself with that. As he went walking through the sand under the blazing noonday sun, he got hot and surly. The saddle rested heavily on his back, and he was having a great deal of trouble thinking of a wish. If I wish for all the riches and treasures of the world, he said to himself, I'm sure that I'd think of all sorts of other things later on. There'll be this and that, but I'm going to fix things so that I'll cover every wish that one could possibly make. Then he sighed and said, Only I were that barbarian farmer who also had 3 wishes. He'd know what to do. First, he'd wish for a lot of beer, then as much beer as he could drink, and finally, a whole barrel of beer. That I think that's kind of like one wish in one. And like, really? You can't come up with nothing better than that? It's not even a good drink. Give me some proper rum if you're gonna do it. Really get, fun. Or sleepy in my case. Sometimes he thought he had finally come upon a good wish, but afterward it always seemed to be too little. Along the way, he began thinking about how easy his wife had it at home, where she was probably in a cool room and enjoying a fine meal. Just the thought of that annoyed him so much that, before he knew it, he blurted out, I wish you were sitting on this saddle at home and couldn't get off, instead of my carrying it on my back. Isn't he just the greatest husband? How dare his wife be happy? And just as the last word left his lips, the saddle vanished from his back, and he realized that his second wish had been fulfilled. He became so hot now that he began to run, because that's going to cool him off. He was looking forward to sitting down alone in his room where he would think of something great for his last wish. However, when he arrived home and opened the door to the living room, his wife was sitting on the saddle in the middle of the room. Since she could not get off, she was screaming and complaining. Bear with it, he said. I'm going to get you all the riches in the world with my wish. Just stay where you are. However, she yelled at him, What good are all the riches in the world to me if I have to sit on this saddle? You wished me up here, and now you better get me off. Jenny, no, I know what you're thinking. Cause so am I, but we're gonna pretend that we're not going there. No, they're practically begging for it. Whether he liked it or not, he had to use his third wish to get her off the saddle and rid of it. His wish was fulfilled at once, and so he got nothing but irritation, trouble, and abuse from the wishes, and lost a horse in the bargain. On the other hand, the poor people spent their lives happily, peacefully, and devoutly until they reached their blissful end. That was I like that one. So, hopefully y'all enjoyed it, and I will see you soon. Bye. Happy reading.